Okay, guys, this is topic 5. We are moving beyond slope-intercept form, student activity sheet 4, intercepts in standard form. So we are on the first page of this, and we have a math club in Ellsville High School is selling candy bars for a trip. So the club members buy 20 cases of 24 bars for $200 each. How much does it cost the math club to buy 20 cases of 24 candy bars? And again, they told us $200 each. So the next question, they want to know, what does the y-intercept represent in the graph? Represent in the graph of projected cash flow from the fundraiser, and why is it negative? Okay, so what we have here is we have the graph that they gave us. You can see it on the screen as well. And again, they want to know, why is this y-intercept down here negative? Well, the reason the y-intercept is negative, and that's sitting at $200, is because they had this original cost of $200. They have not sold any candy bars yet. They had to spend $200. So right now, based on selling 0 candy bars, they are $200 in the hole. It is the initial amount to buy. Okay, so then the next question is, what does the x-intercept of the graph mean? So the x-intercept, guys, is where it crosses the x-axis. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. And if it helps, write that down. Y-intercept. And right here, this is going to be our x-intercept. And it says the x-intercept is $100. Well, what that means, guys, is again, they were started off $200 in the hole. To make a profit of $0, that means they don't owe anything, and it means they haven't made any extra money. What that means is it's going to take them 100 candy bars just to break even. They have to sell 100 candy bars before they can earn back the $200 that they initially spent. Okay. The next question says, what is the slope of the graph and what does it represent in the problem? Okay. So we can look at this graph here and we say the slope is my rise, and if it helps, look at it here too, of 200. So again, that's plus 200. And the run is going to be plus 100. Okay. And as a reminder, our slope is going to be the change in profit. That's our y-intercept divided by the initial costs. Or I should say divided by the bars sold. Don't write that. Put bars sold. So again, the amount of profit I've made at that point, 0. I should say it increases $200 divided by the number of bars sold. There goes my lights. Let me get that on. So the increase of 200 over 100 simplified equals 2. So again, my slope, M, remember, M represents slope. 200 divided by 100 equals 2. It represents that there's $2 for each candy bar sold. The club selling the candy bars for $2 a piece. Again, it's representing that they make a $2 profit for each candy bar that they sell. Okay, so question 9 here, you guys are going to answer with your teachers. Question 9, you're going to answer with your teacher. Let's move on to question 6. What is the value of x when the graph intersects the y-axis? Okay, so with that, I'm all over the place here. Oops. Okay, what is the value of x when the graph intercepts the y-axis? And again, guys, here's where the graph intersects the y-axis right here. Okay, what is x? Well, it didn't move right and it didn't move left, meaning x equals 0. X equals 0 when the graph intersects the y-axis. So question 7 says, explain why B is the y-intercept of a slope, of the slope-intercept form. And the answer to that, guys, is if we plug in 0 for x, and again, we just said when x equals 0, if we plug in 0 for that x right there, remember, anything times 0 is 0. So this would equal y equals 0 plus b. Well, anything added to 0 is itself. So now they want to know, without graphing, what is the y-intercept of the line representing the function rule 1.80c plus 32? Now, in case you're not familiar, that equation is actually how you convert Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. But anyways, I'm going to say the intercept is 32. Why is the intercept 32 on this? Well, that's because if I say F equals 1.80 times, again, the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So I'm going to put in 0 here, plus 32. F equals 1.8 times 0 is 0, plus 32. 0 plus 32 is 32. Okay, when it is 0 degrees Celsius, the temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, now you guys can do this for question 9 with your teachers. Okay, so now we want to know, what is standard form? Standard form is just a different way of writing slope-intercept form. That's all it is. So standard form is written by ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are all numbers plugged in. The x and the y are permanent. Okay, those don't get replaced. Okay, so we want to know, what is one way that we can find the x and y intercepts? Okay, and that is that in order to find the y, we're going to set x equal to 0 and solve. Then to find the x, we're going to set y equal to 0. So this gives us both the x and y intercepts. So they want us to identify both the x and the y intercept of this equation right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the 0 for the x. This is to find the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, that's going to be x is 0, and that gives us y. So the x is right here, so I'm going to put the 0 in that spot. 15 times 0 is 0. If it helps, you can put that 0 there. But all I have to do is solve for this y. So in order to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by -5. 30 divided by -5 equals -6. My y-intercept is at 0, -6. Or we could just say my y-intercept is -6. Now what we're going to do is we need to find the x-intercept. And the x-intercept is when y equals 0. We will find the x-intercept when y equals 0. Okay, so this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug a 0 into the y value. And 5 times 0 is just 0. So we have 15x equals 30. Divide both sides by 15, and x equals 2. Meaning my x-intercept is at the point 2, 0. Okay, we have another way, and this is the way that I normally like to teach my students, and I'm going to show you guys on question number 13. Okay, so let's take a look at question number 13. Okay, so with that, they want us to find the x and y intercept at the point 3x minus 2y equals -6. So I'm going to write that on this paper here. 3x minus 2y equals -6. Well, to find the x-intercept, what I'm going to do is cover the y. Okay, So I'm going to cover this. And what that tells me is that 3x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 3. And we get that x equals negative 2. So on my graph over here, I'm going to take this one. It doesn't matter which, right. I'm going to just take this one and take it to negative 2. Okay. So now we need to find the y-intercept. And in order to find the y-intercept, we're going to cover up the x with my hand. Be careful not to cover the sign. And that leaves me with negative 2y equals negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 2. And we get that the y-intercept is positive 3. Guys, use your calculators on this so that we're not making silly mistakes with our positives and negatives. So we had the x-intercept at negative 2. So I'm going to take this point and bring it up to the y-axis at 3. And we can go ahead and check that. And voila, we are good. Okay. If you want to take a minute, I have the same thing written down here and I have the graph there. If you need to write that down, go ahead and pause the video. So, question 14. Now they want us to find the slope of the line represented by that same exact equation. Okay. In order to find the slope, there's a couple ways that we can do this. The first thing we can do is look at our graph, and we could say the change in y is 1, 2, 3 plus 3 over 1, 2 plus 2. So the change in y was positive 3. The change in x was positive 2. That simplifies to 3 over 2. Another way that we can find the graph is when we're in standard form. Okay, so standard form, I've got 3x minus 2y equals negative 6. For my slope, we're going to say the opposite of A divided by B. Okay, opposite of A. Remember, AX plus BY equals C. So the opposite of A, because it's a positive 3, it's going to be a negative 3. Divided by B is negative 2. Negative divided by negative equals a positive 3 over 2. Okay, so you can see they're the exact same. Okay, so now question A, 15A, they want us to create graphs of the lines. This one says with an x-intercept of 5, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a dot, a y-intercept of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put my other dot and connect them with a line. Now remember, guys, lines go on in both directions forever and ever. You've got to put arrows at the end. Otherwise, they're considered line segments. This time, they want us to do a line with a y-intercept of 10 and no x-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to start with the y-intercept of 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, here's the thing, guys. If no matter which way I go with this, it's going to cross the x-axis. The only way I can make it not cross the x-axis is if I draw the line straight across. That way it's not tilted down on either side. There's no way it can hit the x-axis. Okay, let's go ahead and look at part C. This time they want a line with the x-intercept of 5 and no y-intercept. So let's do the x-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, the only way, if I draw the line this way, eventually it's going to cross the x-axis. If I draw the line this way, eventually it's going to cross the x-axis. The only way is if I follow that unit straight up and down. That's the only way. Okay. Now, question 16 wants to know which of these graphs from 15, A, B, or C, represent functions, and how do I know? So here's C, here's B, here's A. They want to know which ones represent functions. Now, as a reminder with functions, guys, that means our X values can't repeat. Okay. Well, if I look at graph C, X, 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 remember we also talked about that vertical line test? Well, right there, that's a vertical line. So the only ones where every X value has exactly one Y value are graphs A and B. So now in 17, they want us to write the equation of the, next to each equation. In 15, they want us to write the equation of the line we graphed, okay? So I'm going to start with this. With that, remember, everything is in slope-intercept form. Y equals something X plus something, okay? So with this one, my y-intercept, they told us, was 10. So I'm just going to fill in that 10 out there. I have to find the slope. How am I going to get from this point to the next point? Well, that means we have to go down. How many do we have to go down? Well, they already told us it's up at 10. So we have to go down 10 and then over 5. So negative 10 over 5. And then that actually reduces to a negative 2. In B, okay, again, with our okay, with this one, my y-intercept again is 10. This time, you can pick any other point. So I'm going to pick this one right here. What is my rise? There is 0 rise to this, guys, and I have a run. Again, you can pick any number on this line, and I just picked 5. Well, simplify this. We simplified that. Simplify this. 0 divided by 5 is 0. 0 times anything is 0. So y equals 0 plus 10. Simplify that. My equation is just y equals 10. Okay. Now let's flip to question C on the back, graph C, making this equation, okay? This time, guys, and this is exactly what we have on the screen here. This time, if we look, we have y equals something X plus something. Well, this isn't necessarily going to work. Remember, the first thing we look for is the y-intercept. There is no y-intercept, guys. There's no y-intercept. Therefore, we cannot use this form. No, no, no. Okay? The only thing we can do here is say x equals. And what value does it equal? 5. Okay? So let's go on to question 18. 18, you guys are going to work on this with your teachers. It's a reinforced question. And number 19, again, we are going to work on that with your teachers because we have to create a table for each line that we did. Okay? But what I do want you guys to remember, okay, if you want to write this down at the bottom, and your teachers will remind you this too. Any horizontal line, that's one that goes straight across from left to right, has a slope of 0. There's 0 rise with lots of run. Okay. Number 20. Number 20, they want us to calculate the slope for each line. Okay, so the first one is just y equals 4. And on this one, again, this it says y equals 4. If you remember, we said that if I graphed this, it would say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there is 0 rise to this line, but lots of run. It's every point of y. Okay, so what's going to happen here is we simplify that down. 0 over 4 equals 0. The slope on this line is 0. If we plug in this one to the calculator, again, there's lots of rise to this line, but no run. There's no sideways movement. So with this one, we'd say it has a rise of -4, but a run of 0. If you punched that into your calculator, it would say error. So what we call that is undefined. Okay. And then the rest of these questions you guys are going to work on with your teachers. That's it for student activity sheet 4.